All right, BradCooney.com in association with HCN Networks is absolutely honored to have on board from The Voice Season 11, Dave Moisan. Dave, what is up, man? Thanks for joining us.
How are you doing, Brad? Thank you so much for having me on the show. I'm so honored to be here, and I really appreciate you having me on.
Well, we're honored to have you on, like I said. All right, let's get right into this. I'm guessing your life's changed a little bit since the premiere of Season 11.
Yeah, that might be an understatement. It has changed drastically.
Yeah, man.
Better, for sure.
Absolutely.
It's been like drinking water from a fire hose.
I mean, it's amazing how things can change in just in a matter of what do you get? 90 seconds for the blind? Is that what you get?
90 seconds?
Yeah.
You get 90 seconds.
Yeah, man.
So, how quickly it can change.
Before we get into the blind audition, tell the listeners how you ended up on The Voice in the first place.
Well, I guess in the first place, I've been doing music for a while. I was a little bit of a late bloomer, and so I started in college, actually. And so after college, I just started writing and singing and playing out and doing my own music. And it's crazy how once you write a song and put it out, the songs end up getting legs of their own. And so I actually got a couple songs licensed into some pretty cool spots. One was on a playlist with Maroon 5, actually.
Yeah.
It was funny. The show, I don't think the show even knew that, but it was on a playlist with Maroon 5 and Hollister stores globally, and so a lot of people heard that. That was cool, and then I think some people from the show heard some of that stuff and reached out and were like, hey, would you be interested in doing this? And
wow.
At that point, I had just gotten married, and so I had just renovated my house, and
wow.
4 months before I got married, I gutted my entire house.
Oh, wow.
Down to the studs, thinking that I could rebuild the entire thing before our wedding date.
Yeah.
Needless to say, that didn't happen.
Yeah, so much for that plan.
Yeah, that's right. But bottom line, a few years down the road, and still doing music, and I was like, you know what, let's do this. And so I took him up on it, and I reached out, and then here we are. So,
good stuff.
But for me, it was kind of the thing. If you would have asked me 5-10 years ago if being on The Voice was something that I would have considered, it really wouldn't have been something that would have even been on my radar, honestly. But I think that life is really full of unexpected surprises.
Oh, sure.
That we kind of have to discover. I don't think anything just happens. I think, for me, I was very fortunate. I was a good athlete. I was an All-American swimmer, and I got a scholarship to Notre Dame. I graduated in marketing, and I think, in the back of our mind, all of us have that little imagination box, but we never really open it, and honestly, we're a little afraid to open it. And, for me, I think you may have seen on the show, but I was at a concert, and it was actually a Maroon 5 show.
And met Adam backstage.
Yeah. Well, I always tell people that I got backstage, but in reality, I actually snuck back there. And somehow, got to chatting with them. He invited me on stage and ended up watching them. And in the back of my mind, that little seed, the imagination box, became not a dream, but a reality. And I knew I was going to have to nurture it, and I was going to have to work on it and be persistent. And so that's exactly what I did. And I started working on music and started doing it, and the thing that was in the back of my imagination and brought it to the forefront. So, so here I am today, and would I have been able to tell you that I was going to be on The Voice and getting 4 chairs? And it's just
man.
It's been a crazy, awesome ride.
Yeah.
And for me, I am just so glad that I took that chance, because now I know, and here I am.
And it's not even, the ride's not even over with yet. I mean, and if you move on to the live shows, here comes the tidal wave. You talk about a ride then.
Exactly. I know. So it's been a trip, that's for sure.
So you sang "Sex and Candy" for your blind audition, and as you mentioned a minute ago, you got 4 chair turns, which is great. Even Miley even ran up to you and gave you a hug, which was nice.
I know. I completely blacked out. It was
me too. I would have.
Yeah. It was like, hey, what's up? I'm hugging
Miley Cyrus
on stage in front of millions of people, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's so surreal.
Right.
Talk about that experience a little bit, as far as coming out there and you got to perform in front of like 4 legends. I mean, basically.
Sure.
I mean, I don't know if we put Miley in the legend category yet, but she probably will be there when she gets a little more years under her belt. Yeah, it's just a matter of tenure with her, because she's extremely talented and she's going to be a legend for sure. But you know what I mean. It's funny, like Alicia Keys. Alicia Keys is a certain legend. Blake and
Grammys, right? Yeah.
So talk about what that feels like. I mean, what's going through your mind?
Okay, so for you and for the listeners, imagine this scenario. You're standing there in front of these doors, okay? The doors are closed, and the only cue that you have to walk out there is that the door's open. It's dead silent. Nobody says, like, all right, you're on, good luck, go get it.
Oh, my God.
Door's open. That's it. And it's dead silent. You can hear your footsteps. You can hear your heartbeat. It's terrifying.
Can you see the crowd? Can you see the
Yeah, you can see the crowd. You can see the crowd. You can see the chairs. You can see, like, it's a lot closer than it looks on TV.
Yeah.
It's a big room, but those chairs, I mean, you can see them. They are right there.
Okay.
And it's, I mean, even metaphorically intimidating, because the backs are facing you. You know,
I know.
Like, we don't like you yet.
I know.
And so you walk on stage, and for me, for my song, I had to start off right away singing. I didn't have like an intro or anything like that.
Right.
That was even more intimidating. So I'm like, please, Lord, help me hit the right note.
Really?
And oh yeah. So you start, and then it's just like, that's why you practice so much, because then for me it went on autopilot. I pretty much blacked out. I didn't remember any of it until I saw the blind audition on TV.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot. A lot of the contestants that I've talked to over the last few seasons, you all share that one thing in common. 98% of them say, I don't even remember like seeing some of the chairs turn. I remember hearing. Some of them don't even remember the chairs turning when it was over with. That's how blacked out they were.
Oh, yeah. The reason that I remembered it is because I remember the chairs turning. Actually, you know what's funny is the first thing that I remember is seeing the crowd like waving their arms and thinking it was weird.
Wow.
I was like, I just remember thinking, that just looks funny. It looks like sea anemones or something like that.
Mm-hmm. That's funny, man.
I remember literally having that thought on stage.
That's funny. It's amazing.
Weird thoughts we have, right?
Yeah, I was about to say, it's amazing. Like you're under like probably one of the more pressure cooker situations of your life, and a little something like that'll pop in your head. It's like
it's like, how do you get these random thoughts? That's the beauty of our brains, right?
Yes. All right, so you had mentioned you're big Maroon 5 fans, and so am I. And of course, you met Adam backstage at one of his shows. How was it that Alicia stole you? I thought you were you were going to pick Adam. I think most of the country thought you were going to pick Adam, and you picked Alicia Keys.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
What was the thinking behind? Of course, you can't go wrong with Alicia Keys, that's for sure. But what was your thought process that made you pick her?
So for me, when I was up there listening to all the coaches, I did go into it kind of thinking I was leaning towards Adam or Blake. Those are the two that I thought I was going to be more likely to pick. But I really forced myself to say, all right, I'm going to be open to what everybody has to say. Because I don't want to just pick Adam just to, because I love his music and I think he's the most similar to me musically. And I think he would be an incredible coach. But, it was a really long conversation. Mm-hmm. Obviously, for the purpose of TV, it's got to be condensed. Mm-hmm. And, some of the other coaches made some really, really good points. And besides the fact, Alicia Keys has 15 Grammys.
Yeah, she's a monster.
And so it's like, that's pretty incredible. But, I mean, when Adam started talking, I was like, okay, I'm sold. I'm going with Adam, period.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. But then Miley started talking, and I was like, okay, well, shoot, maybe I'm going to go with Miley. Because I was really close to going with Miley, too. And but then when Alicia spoke, literally, not exaggerating, the crowd hushed.
Yeah, she's good at that.
Dead quiet.
Mm-hmm.
She commanded your attention. She never broke eye contact, and there was just something about her that was so magnetic. And what she said just resonated with the core of me, and I felt like I couldn't not choose her.
Wow.
And like I play piano, she plays piano, and also when I do a lot of songwriting, so I do a lot of my own music. And so whenever I write, I like co-writing with people so that it's, we can create something new and create something that, I wouldn't be able to create just by myself. And so what I'm excited about partnering with Alicia is because, I'm excited to see what we create.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're both piano players, and I love her songwriting, and like I said before, she's got 15 Grammys, so she's pretty darn successful.
Yeah, pretty good resume. Pretty good resume.
Yeah, pretty good resume. So that's kind of what drew me in. It was, and honestly, I shocked myself too. Afterwards, I was like, "Whoa! I can't believe I picked her over."
Oh yeah, she was surprised too, though. I looked at the replay of the video a couple times, and her eyes came out of her head. She was really excited. I mean, pleasantly surprised.
I was excited too. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, great, man.
Yeah, it was exciting. So I'm glad I did, and we'll see what happens.
I'm guessing another surreal moment must have been like you're standing up there, you got the blind audition done, you got 4 chair turns, you're standing there and you're listening to these epic performers and artists in front of you, all showering you with compliments, and they're not just making them up. I mean, they sincerely were heartfelt compliments they were giving you. What's going through your mind when you're listening to someone like Alicia Keys with 15 Grammy nominations, really, really complimenting you on your performance? What goes through your mind at that point?
Honestly, what went through my mind was they keep talking to this guy named Dave. I don't know where this guy is. I'm turning around, looking over my shoulder. Who are they talking to?
Yeah.
It was such a surreal, out-of-body experience. That was literally what was going through my head.
Wow.
I was like, this guy that they're talking to sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah, you already got the car keys. You're out in the parking lot driving off, and Dave was on stage listening to all this.
Yeah, Dave, that guy is on stage listening. I'm like, wow. I'm off having a steak somewhere.
That is awesome.
But seriously, it was such a surreal, out-of-body experience. How do you take that in? It's like going from 0 to 1,000,000 miles an hour in a second. It's hard to process, honestly. Yeah. It's really hard to process. Yeah. And so it's incredible.
Good stuff, man. What about the night before the blind audition? I ask this question often when I talk to the contestants right after the blinds. Paint a picture for the listeners out there and those voice fans, because I'm somebody who had to get along in life a ways before I was okay with stepping out of my comfort zone with things. I never liked to do that until I got a little bit older in life. For me, I would be horrified the night before a huge day like the blind audition. Tell us what the night before was like. What kind of, did you sleep good? Was you nervous, anxious? Talk about that.
For sure. Yeah, so obviously you are incredibly nervous the night before. But for me, I think I had, because I've got a background in swimming and I've been in that competitive arena before and have been fortunate enough to compete at a relatively high level.
Well, you swam against Michael Phelps, right?
Yeah, swam against him a couple times, and once, like I said, at the Junior Olympics, I think it was, and then at the U.S. Open again. And
that's pretty cool.
So, but I mean, obviously, I wasn't even close to his fact. It's not even.
Yeah, but the fact that you got to swim with him is great. I mean, that's
Yeah, it's an honor to even be in the same pool with that guy, because he's incredible.
Yeah, talk about legends.
Let me state for the record, the relay that we beat him on, we were destroying his team. He was and we were so far ahead. He was the last person on his team to go,
and he almost came back.
Almost caught up. Yeah, he almost caught up and beat us. So we literally barely just beat his.
Yeah, that's funny.
He pretty much destroyed us all anyway.
Yep. Yeah, that guy's a legend. Talk about legends. Woo. There's a legend.
No joke. And so that background for me in that competitive environment and having those nerves and competing in national meets and stuff like that, I've been there and I've felt those feelings. Obviously not the exact same competition. I've never stood on stage in front of those 4 judges, but it's the same feeling. And so what I try to do is, one, I mentally rehearse. I used to do this. I would visualize my race, and I would swim through in my mind the race, and that would always calm me down. And so that's what I did here. I visualized my song, and I sang through mentally every single note, what I would do, and I think that's probably why my eyes were closed the whole time.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yep.
Yeah, I didn't really visualize keeping my eyes open. So whoops.
It's all right, it worked for you.
Yeah, that's right. But I think that helped me a lot, and obviously it's always hard getting to sleep the night before. That you just can't help that because you got those nervous butterflies and all that kind of stuff. But I just try to visualize, and then after I do that, after I do my preparation, then I try and detach mentally. Just like watch a show or not really think about it. Just try and compartmentalize.
Wow, that's great. All right, so let's talk about Alicia Keys real quick. I got a couple more questions, then I'll let you go.
Sure.
Can you share something that Alicia's taught you that's really helped you as a singer?
So, without getting into too many details that I can't share, Alicia has, in a good way, pushed me to stretch my boundaries and my comfort zone.
Okay.
So, in a really good way. And that was my goal coming into this whole experience, is I really want to grow as an artist. Because at the end of the day, whether I don't get a chair to turn, obviously I did, but whether I didn't get a chair to turn or whether I win, the goal throughout this whole experience is becoming a better artist and to create a sustainable career and to be able to make something that brings people joy and brings people entertainment and so what I wanted to learn through this coming into this experience is just wanted to grow. And so what she's done with me so far is really pushed me, and I'm getting exactly what I want. She's helping me grow.
And I'm guessing that really boosts confidence. You're probably doing things you didn't think you could.
Well, it's kind of an interesting curve. It's at first it's kind of like a dip in confidence, and then it's a boosting.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Because, literally, it's like, I don't know. I feel like anytime we're challenged in life, our first response is, shoot, I can't do that. I'm terrible. I'm not good enough to do this, or that I sound bad, or I look bad, or but that's our first response. But I feel like most things in life, it's like if we approach it with confidence, it'll be way better than you think it will be.
Sure.
And a lot of times we're our own worst critics. And for me, that's another thing I've learned is I'm a very bad critic of myself.
Yeah.
I'm like, that sounds bad. I'm like, what am I doing with my hand? Or, even in my blind audition, I'm looking at my hand. I'm like, what am I doing with my hand there? It looks like a robot.
And my eyes are closed. What the heck's going on here?
Yeah, my eyes are closed. Right. It's like that's what everybody does. But at some point we got to stop looking at the negatives and just think about the positives and enjoy the ride and just be confident, and enjoy it and be present. And so that's another thing that she's helped me with is being present. One of the cool things about Alicia is whenever you hang out with her, she's like, all right, we're going to stop for a second and we're going to take a breath. Yeah, and then it slows you down, you know.
Yeah,
I'm a little bit ADHD if you can't tell.
Yeah. No worries. I mean, not at all. No, you're fine. So when I was prepping, I'm sorry. Finish your thought.
No, go ahead.
When I was prepping for your interview, I pulled up your blind audition on YouTube and went to the Voice channel, and so I'm looking down like, wow, this thing has over 1 million views already. That's crazy, man. I mean, what do you think about that, man? So your song, the one you sang, your blind audition, has it's got like well over 1 million now. That's just nuts.
I know that is very crazy. It's still like super intangible for me. It's so surreal that it's odd, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, for a while I started I was looking at it a lot more, and then I realized that was doing stuff with my head that I didn't like, and so I'm just like, you know, because if you're reading negative comments, and I mean, we're real people at the end of the day.
Sure.
People make negative comments, and you're like, I'm terrible, I'm gonna quit.
Yeah, you can't do that. You can't. Don't even read those comments. Don't even read them.
I know, and so I just stopped. I don't read them anymore, and so because you know, at the end of the day, any good art, I think, this is just my theory, any good art has to be polarizing.
Mm-hmm.
If it's just lukewarm, people aren't going to love it, people aren't going to hate it, and it's just going to be kind of slightly boring. But I feel like any good art, people are going to love it and people are going to hate it.
Yeah, but not to mention though on YouTube or Twitter, you're always going to have the random trolls. You could post a video of like a puppy dog playing with a little kid in a field of flowers, and there's going to be somebody just to bash it, you know?
Yeah, I can't believe you're putting that puppy dog to work.
And that child's in danger. That puppy could bite him.
Yes, exactly. Cannot believe you would do something as thick as this.
I'm going to call PETA. I'm going to call Child Protection Services. You have people like that.
Yeah,
you know?
deserve jail.
Yes, and you just have those folks out there on Twitter and on YouTube. So don't even read them.
Yeah, no joke. Yeah, but that's all right. But it's, you know, it's part of it. It's fun. It's like you learn how to deal with it, and it gets funny at some point, you know.
Yeah. You got to remember, always remember that while somebody's up there banging the keyboard, being hateful, you're hanging out with Alicia Keys on national TV.
That is awesome.
You know.
Okay, every time now, Brad.
Yep.
You see somebody hating. That's your response.
There you go. And you can even respond that way. Okay, sir, ma'am. Just remember. Right after I finish reading your little hateful comment, I'm going to go meet Alicia Keys for some brunch, and we're going to talk about my next national appearance.
Yeah, that's right. Here's the crazy thing, is that, like, I've gotten to spend so much time with all these other contestants.
Yeah.
And I love them. They're
man.
Great friends.
Yep.
They become really good friends. And I know you always see that on, like, reality TV and all that kind of stuff. Oh, we're such good friends. And I used to always be like, oh, that's, you know, whatever. They're just, you know, doing that for TV. But it's like we spend literally 24/7 together.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, it's a fraternity.
And we're all going through this super intense, super stressful experience, but super awesome experience together. And it's like, who else in the world has this exact experience to share with you? And and a lot of us have very similar interests, and like one of my good buddies whom you haven't seen yet, and I can't talk about yet because you haven't seen him.
Right. But I know what you're saying. When I was in the Navy in boot camp. You know, you go to boot camp, and then you go to your training schools, and then you get to your ship. You know, because of Facebook, this is why I love Facebook so much. Because of Facebook, I reconnected with people that I served on board the ship with back in the 80s. And it's great. And you know what? It's like we just had a ship reunion, a Navy ship reunion in New Orleans a couple months ago. And I haven't seen some of these guys in 25, 30 years. But it's like when we saw each other, we picked up where we were left off. There's like that brotherhood. And I'm saying that because you're going through something similar. And it's not the military, but there's going to be 4 or 5 of those people that There's gonna be 4 or 5 people that you are gonna make friends with that you'll be friends with 20, 30 years from now from this show.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yep.
Like well, you've seen her. But like my wife and Lauren are good friends now.
There you go.
And like they've been texting and all that kind of stuff. So I can talk about her. And
yep. Lauren's my next podcast guest, in fact.
Oh, she's great. I love Lauren.
Yep.
She is such a fun girl.
Yeah, she's coming up on Monday.
Yeah, she's awesome. She became a good friend of mine.
That's great.
And her husband Randy is awesome as well, and little Roman. They're such a sweet family, and so like you build these great relationships.
Yeah, man.
And these are people that we're gonna have in our lives, literally for the rest of our lives.
Yes, sir.
It's a very, very cool thing, and the environment on the show, behind the cameras, like off camera, is such a positive environment throughout.
Yeah. You know, Carson Daly seems like a cool cat too, man. He seems like a good dude.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really cool. Yeah, I chatted with him a few times off camera, and it's just a really cool guy.
And does such a great job too. Great job.
Yeah, it doesn't make you nervous or anything like that, and just a really cool, down to earth guy.
That's it, brother.
Had his son on set. Yeah. So.
That's awesome. Hey, man. So look, I really had fun doing this. Before I let you go, I always want to give the singers, contestants, an opportunity to talk about where they can catch your stuff on iTunes, where they can follow you on Instagram and Twitter and all that other stuff, man. So let it rip, man. Tell everybody where they can follow you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So we just released an EP called Heavyweight that actually went into the top 100 on the pop charts.
Nice.
Which I was super shocked by. I wasn't even looking at it. And one of my buddies was like, "Dude, you're on the pop charts."
Nice.
And so that's called Heavyweight, and it's Dave Moisan is my name, Moisan. And you can look me up on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. Basically, every handle is the same, either @ or / Dave Moisan, DaveMoisan.